Hello everyone, Sons of Duck 2, welcome to another mod pack overview, this time on Mystic's Cubic Chunks pack. A pack that simply focuses on building, as well as dungeons, and there is a bit of economy, I think. But yeah, so it adds in, obviously, a bunch of display elements, a minimap, and so on. And we'll just cover what's available, and I might have another video covering maybe an interview with the creator, depending on what the case is, because they're kind of struggling with getting on their server at the moment, and there is a server, of course. And my PC is not the best at running certain packs, so it's pretty much almost at max RAM, so I'll see what I can do, but for the most part, I'll show off what I can. So we've got Planologistics, which obviously adds in storage. And there is obviously a bunch of other aspects like fluid crafting, just sort of go here, as well as some facades that you can put on some of the cables. So you've got some storage, you've got some crafting units and crafting storage, got a meteorite compass, and a few other aspects. Tons of facades based on what's available in the pack. There's also applied integrations, which adds in a few other additional aspects as well. We'll go to the next few pages of GEI. Let's see, so we've got more of the cables there. We've got aquaculture, which adds in additional fishing rods, as well as certain fish and enchantments. You've got architecture craft, which adds a lot of other building possibilities in different aspects here and there. So you've got different cuts, you've got different balustrades also, or baluster, I'm not sure, and so on. You've got a tomb, which adds in a new dimension, as well as some different mobs, and ores and blocks, and different building options as well. You've got tools and armor, and different things that I assume you get from loot or bosses. I'm assuming, never used it too much before, but I am slightly familiar with it. We've got Varita, which adds aspects for crafting, as well as higher tier tools and higher tier crafting aspects. You've got obviously some complements, which sort of expand upon it. You've got Baublicious, which adds in additional baubles. You've got Between Ores, which adds in other ores as well, I assume for the Between Lands, maybe? You've got Bibliocraft, which adds in additional building options. You've got typewriters, and you've got display cases, as well as shelves and lamps and such, and chairs for different things to place inside builds. You've got bigger crafting tables to take advantage of other crafting possibilities. You've got Biomes of Plenty for adding in additional biomes and trees, as well as woods and buckets and other things. Got Blood Magic, which adds in obviously magic aspects. You've got different runes, you've got uses of blood to then obviously infuse stuff. You've got tools and armor, and a ton of different components and crafting aspects as well. You've got Botania for adding in additional tech and magic sort of aspects using flowers. Some that can obviously generate mana, others that are just for the sake of getting the petals to then make some of these other aspects. And it seems the creators are sort of struggling, unfortunately, at the moment with their access to the server, unfortunately. I'll see what I can do after, though. So you've got lenses, you've got additional blocks for sending mana, and otherwise, and crafting components. You've got tons of tools, and you've got potions, different blocks for building with, different ones for assisting the player in certain cases. We've got Camera Obscura, which adds in just the camera and a bunch of filters, which I think is useful for just either photography or similar stuff to like ghosts and things, because I think it's inspired by Fatal Frame, I think. I'm not too sure. You've got Casino Craft, which adds in a bunch of different casino aspects. You've got arcade machines, you've got dice, you've got card packs, card tables, and other things. We've got ceramics, which adds in different uses for clay. So you've got buckets, armor, shears, you've got porcelain, and a few other bits and pieces. Charset, which adds in aspects of bundled cables along with transceivers and NOT gates and other aspects. You got logic gates, multiplexers, comparator in a different form, and so on. Chinese workshop, which adds in additional doors as well as roofing and things and bricks and stuff. You've got Shinjufu, which adds in different cafe and window style, cafe chairs and windows and such. We've got, let's see, a bunch of other building options, bricks and more, frying pans, glasses, armor, tons of food and chairs. Let's see, a ton of stuff it seems. So just go through a fair amount of it. I've never come across the mod before, so there's a lot I don't know. We've got desks and other bits and pieces as well. And panels. You've got chisel for adding in additional blocks, as you can see. There'll be bookshelves, cobble, other aspects, concrete, futuristic, factory, glass, and a bunch of others here, as well as certain chisels you can use. You've got chromatic foliage, which adds in other versions of leaves, Cough Core with its potions and possibly enchantments. Got coloured redstone for adding in other versions of redstone that are just obviously useful for separating between regular redstone wire connections, as well as lamps. You've got coloured quartz for additional quartz that you can build with or mine, use for decoration. We've got colourful water, which obviously adds in different watercolours. Concrete extend, which adds in additional concrete expandable uses. Custom crafting tables for additional coloured crafting tables. Da Vinci's vessels for building capabilities, and you can use obviously balloons for aircrafts. You've got certain others for land, and I assume water ones as well. You've got Decocraft for adding additional different building options as well. Let's see if we can load all these, because I think they're 3D models, so that's why it's going to take a bit, or there's just too many. So you've got signs, presents, you've got hammocks and a few other additional things, a lot of different useful stuff. The builds, you've got chairs, or filling in rooms I should say. You've got kitchen related tables, you've got bar stools, you've got outdoor, you've got restaurant tables or awnings, industrial stuff, windows, and a lot more. So we'll sort of cycle through and you can pause at any time. Cabinets, beds, just stuff, dolls, more. Got deep mod learning, which adds in different models and such, which I assume you can do a bit more with mobs or have different mob abilities maybe? That's my guess, I've never used it, but I've come across similar. And there's also a blood magic add-on as well for it. We've got dense neutron collectors, which adds in a few blocks for certain possibilities, I'm not too sure. We've got diamond glass for additional glass options. Dirt deco, which adds in more expanded stuff for dirt. Enderai with additional machines and components. And glass. So you can teleport with a staff. You've got different tools and armor which can be upgraded. Different furnaces, alloy furnaces, the ability to capture mobs with vials, different spawners, which if you break them and then make them into something else, you can spawn whatever you want. Extended items and ores with different swords and components and armor, different ores, gem ores. Extra biomes, extra lands for more biomes and trees and such, and plant life. Fake blocks for adding in fake versions of certain blocks, which I assume spawn in the world, or it's just craft them. No, they just appear in the world, it seems. Forestry for adding in additional woods as well as machines and a focus on farming and some automation. As well as adding in obviously bees. Got backpacks for collecting stuff for you, different engines, different storage of fluids, Future versions for adding in stuff from versions higher than 112 back to 112. And what else we got? Gems++ for additional tools and armor and ores. We've got hyperlighting for additional lighting options. Maho Tuskai or Sukai, I always forget with T and S in the beginning, and that pretty much adds in a bunch of scrolls with abilities or enchantment-like aspects. Malice doors with additional door options. Mine colonies for pretty much economy or just sort of civilization stuff. You've got more blocks, please, for additional brick options. Doors more. Mystical agriculture with additional farming for resources and different blocks and furnaces and tools and plants and everything. The mystical world also expands upon that with obviously mud and different mobs and other bits and pieces. Nether-X, we're also expanding the nether and what you can build with nether materials and tools. Nifty blocks for additional blocks and food. What else we got? So some traffic stuff, or city related. Nova blocks for also its construction or different types of blocks and roofs and slopes and stuff. Spacesuit and obviously other additional things. Just going through what we've got here. Pam's Harvest Craft for food and seeds. Open blocks for different creative opportunities. Builds or utilities, farming and such. Like mob farms, not crop farms. Pam's Harvest with meals and seeds and other crop aspects. Quark for adding in additional building options and other vanilla aspects. Psi for magic and programming, sort of integrated into one, at least last I checked it out. You remember? We've got RF tools for additional tech aspects and the ability to use mobs' essences for spawning them. You've got force fields, generators, I'm pretty sure, shield projection, monitoring of your power, sorting systems, and so on. Roots for adding in magic capabilities, if I remember correctly. Another one I haven't used in a while. Rustic for adding in additional building options. Secret rooms for obviously pretty much making rooms that are secret compared to other players obviously walking into your sort of typical environments, so you can hide your storage aspects there. Sonar core for adding in additional blocks. Spectrite for additional mobs, it seems, and potions and other aspects. Storage drawers for storage. Structurized for additional building options, as well as assisting with mine colonies, I assume. Starred blocks for additional building options. Thorncraft for magic and mobs and crystals and other bits and pieces like research and golems to do certain automation for you. Researching aspects and more. Between lands for an additional dimension and building options. Let's see. As well as tools, armor, I assume dungeons and other bits and pieces. Thermal mods, which adds in, say, piping or machines from expansion compared to dynamics. The fluid, power item, and I guess mix of the two stuff. Florbs for capturing fluids, mobs for capturing mobs, different upgrades for your machines, different tools and resources. Got varied commodities, and totemic for obviously different building or different sort of symbolization stuff, different tools or other bits and pieces, and weapons and such, or just I guess civilization bits and pieces. Water strainer for getting resources from rivers. Way to the other worlds for a dimensional mod, I assume, or different other aspects you can use like tools and armor and weapons. Let's see, we've got Twin Trees expansion, which is just blocks, I assume, as well as gears, and assume, I don't think it's the bees one, I'm thinking a different one. Zwangcraft for additional blocks, it seems, as well as tech aspects, like breakers, wireframes, and such, compared to like your ore processing and other bits and pieces. I think that's about it. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.